Welcome in. It is day 81 and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. Today, just like yesterday, we're jumping into another one of my big Kickstarters. Now, unlike yesterday's, this was not one giant investment, but what it has been is a multiple times investment. I picked up the original game, and even though I don't always have a chance to get this to the table, I have picked up every expansion they've ever put out. Every time one pops up, I always get it. I love the game, and I just don't ever want to not have options within the game. That game is King's Forge. So King's Forge is essentially a combination of a little bit of a deck builder, even though it's not really, and primarily a dice builder. So what you do is you've got a deck of cards that you're going to shuffle up and randomly select 11 cards, and those are going to be your actions for the round. And then you're going to start with so many of your basic dice, and based on these actions, you're going to get to invest in, all right, I want to try and get different types of upgrades. I'm going to be trying to upgrade my dice. I'm going to be trying to see if I can get more options so that when I go into my next round, I have, hey, we start with all of our basic metal dice, and am I going to get up to rubies or golds, or am I going to get my different types of metal, or there's so many different colored dice. And what am I going to get for the cards, which isn't a deck builder, it's just temporary owned cards that essentially will give you upgrades, saying, all right, this one's going to allow it so that you can instantly make something like a 6, or this one's going to allow you to re-roll, or this one's going to say that you're going to have an opportunity for the dice that you made this turn, so many pull over. Because the way that the dice upgrades work is really cool. Just because you've upgraded doesn't mean you have them. You are going to upgrade your dice, but when you do, they're exhausted, so they have to go off to the side. And then you don't get to use those till next round. But there's a second half to round 1. So if you don't have a lot of dice to bring into that, then you're not going to get to compete. So somebody may look like they're losing because you look at it and you go, oh, wow, I got all these upgrades. Look at my dice next round. And then they go, yeah, but you don't have any dice left. And now we're done at stage 1 and we're going to stage 2, where you've randomly shuffled up and you've put out so many different types of things that you're trying to create. You're all blacksmiths and you're creating different things for the kingdom. And you're going to randomly select the ones you have, and then you put them in an order from lowest to highest, and the lowest comes out first. So you'll have 3 cards up top, and it'll say, okay, here's the cards. Can you make them? And what you'll do is you'll select a card and say, I want to make this card. And you'll select whatever of the dice you still have available that you want to roll for it. And it'll give you a minimum requirement. Okay, you're going to make this sword, and the sword's going to cost 3 of your basic dice, and it's going to need you to have minimums of 4, a 4, and a 5. So now you take the ones you want to roll, you roll them, and then you see, all right, well, did you fit it? Did you at least get a 4, a 4, and a 5? If you have like a 5, and a 6, great. You do that, and then the next player gets their turn. Now, if they want to go for yours, they can go for it because you don't own it yet. You've just temporarily, you've made yours, and now you're trying to prove that yours is better. So if you want to, you can roll the same dice, and if you can outroll their number. So if they have a 5, and a 6, and then you roll and you get a 5, a 6, and a 6, you snake it from them. And you're essentially going to continue this around the board until everybody passes. And then when everybody passes, whoever made whatever items gets the item. And then new items fill in. Then you reshuffle the cards that we all had. You keep the same deck. You reshuffle them, and everybody goes back to that. All the dice that were exhausted move into your active pool, and now you see where you go from there. You go until somebody has officially hit 4 items. You'll finish that round for the rolling and everything. But once somebody's hit 4 items, you've officially finished and there'll be no next round. And then you just count up the victory points of all the items. And that's it. It's very straightforward. There's a lot of expansions to this, so a lot of different types of dice and cards and stuff were added in, but that's a later type video. For the base game, it's a really interesting style, and why don't we just jump in and talk about it? The art. I really like this box. When I went on to Kickstarter, this box is what grabbed me. And I think that the board, the cards, the pieces, everything there follows up on this art. It's a giant thumbs up. They really did a good job. Your components. Almost all your components are dice or cards. You do have a couple large wooden components, but everything's amazing quality. Nothing's going to break, rip, or wear. It's a thumbs up. Your price. This game goes for around $40, $45. Expansions aren't that expensive, but we're just judging the base game. The problem with this game is it's not widely available. I'm not going to ever find this at a Target or at a Barnes & Noble. You will find it at the occasional board game store, but I want to say it's like 1 out of 5. And for me, I think that's a big deal because I specifically know that the people who market and manufacture this game are only just in New Hampshire. I recently worked a couple days. This is one of the games that they had helped with the Kickstarter and helped get it out there. So you'd think it'd be available more in this area. Now, maybe I don't know the board gaming industry. Maybe this is just massively available in Europe, or maybe it's hit up like California and stuff. Maybe it's just not a big request line for this in the East Coast. I just haven't seen it in stores a lot. Occasionally, but not a lot. And maybe I'm just not going to the right stores either. But overall, I think for the price it's asking for and what you're getting in the game, I think it's worth it. So that's a thumbs up. Your difficulty, it's not difficult. It's essentially rolling dice, which today's games I got really excited about because we don't have a lot of dice rolling anymore. So I wanted a game where dice mattered, and it really brings those back to the forefront. As far as the difficulty, I think that experts, experienced, beginners, and kids can all play this game. So, big thumbs up. Replayability. When you pull this game out, you're playing it multiple times in a row. This is a game that you're messing it around, and I've played this with multiple expansions together, or expansion, each one individually in a row. I've played it where I said, hey, let's play around with the rules and do it a little different, because this game doesn't make it so you can't see options. So I like that. Definitely it gives the ability to do that. It's a little hard to get to the table sometimes. If I had a few more gamers in the house, I think this would come out a lot. But as a 2-player, I don't think it's one that gets pulled very often. But overall, thumbs up. Your keys to victory. It's all up to how you attack it. Do you want to invest in your dice, but you're going to have to wait and hit later? Or do you want to try to do a little less investment so that you know that you're being basically not competed with, and you can just go and grab the easy items? Because even though, hey, by the time we get to those experienced, higher weapons, one of those is going to wipe out all the points for the ones you got. If you can really quickly get 3 of those and the other person hasn't gotten anything, all you have to do is one good dice investment and get one good card, and you're going to be good to go. So I do think that there's a lot of options here, because you can do that, or you can do the dice side. And then there's also investing in the upgrades, saying like, hey, I've got all these things that are going to let me upgrade my dice, so I can just upgrade enough, basically get just the right dice. Hey, I'm going to get exactly the dice required for a card, and I'm going to get all these upgrades and guarantee that I can hit it. There's a lot of ways to do it. I really like that. I think that there are a lot of keys to victory. It's a thumbs up. Unique. This is one of the most unique games I own. I have, just from the base game alone, like over 100 dice in this game. I have really cool cards, really cool actions. I think that the ability of running through the same deck of 11 cards, and then the next time you play the game, being like, we're doing it again, but it's 11 new cards, is great. So, huge thumbs up on the unique. What do I think about this game overall, though? I think this game is a must-play. I don't think it's a must-own, but if you're a parent trying to pick a game for like your 10, 11, 12-year-old, and you're wondering like what could be fun and interesting and that they definitely don't have, go invest in this for their birthday or their Christmas, because you're going to want to play the game. they're definitely going to not own the game. And it's going to be, I think, a big hit. I think this is a game that they're going to be surprised and be like, oh my God, I'm playing with dice. Like, kids today don't have that experience playing with dice. It's not like when we were kids and most games were all dice mechanicked. There's very few dice mechanics today. And this one's so many dice. I think that it, like, a kid can play it, but they're also going to get wide-eyed. Like, oh my God, like, look at all this. It's really cool. I really enjoy it. I think everybody should try the game. And you know, the more that own it, the better. It's a really cool game. But that's just my opinion. It's up to you guys to get out there, try games, make your own opinions. Well, this has been day 81. We've been talking about King's Forge, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding in an Amazon link, so if you are interested, you can pick this game up for yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.